Hi there, this is Pat McDonald, your host for Banter and Beans, where we're asking the question, what's brewing in Montpelier? And joining me in studio today is Brian Lewis, who is the owner of Filibuster's Restaurant and Yellow Mustard. Welcome.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, this is great. So I just found out today that you own Yellow Mustard, and I went with a friend, and it's fabulous. So you've got two great places going here in town.
Yeah, they're both on State Street, almost across the street from each other. And Yellow Mustard's been around for 3 years.
Oh,
this
shame
December.
on me.
Yep. And I've owned it for 2. And Filibuster was supposed to start July 23.
Yeah, good timing.
Yeah, we were started. Our scheduled start was supposed to be 10 days after the flood, but we got flooded, and it pushed the opening back 7 months.
Now you're up a little bit in the Filibusters, and it came up even higher than that, or was it just your basement? Or
so it came. Our basement is like a prep kitchen, a dry storage, 2 bathrooms, and a seating area. And so it came up to 4 inches from the first floor.
Oh,
so it was
still pretty high.
Yeah, there's about 12 feet of ceiling.
Yeah.
So it was about 12 feet deep in the basement.
That is a beautiful facility.
Yeah.
And you've done such a great job with the inside.
Thank you.
It's lovely.
Yeah.
It's great. So give us a little bit of history about you and your background and why Montpelier and why 2 restaurants?
Yeah. A little about me. I've been in the restaurant industry since my very early 20s. I started out in Seattle. I trained there for 9 years. I was in Los Angeles for 6 years. And then I grew up in Connecticut, went out to the West Coast. I came back east in my early 30s, so about 15 years ago now. I was working in Providence for 3 years as an executive chef, and I just really wanted to get to a place that had like more space available. I had been in the cities for about 18 years at that point, and I enjoyed coming to Vermont when I was living in Connecticut and coming up and skiing, and so I thought I'd come up to Vermont, and that was 8 years ago.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's great. Well, that building is wonderful. It used to be a bank.
Yep.
But first, before you was a Chinese or?
Yeah, it was a sushi.
A sushi, right?
Yeah.
And they kept a lot of the bank features, the big vault, and I was sitting next to the little shelves where you put the cash balance things, and it was just it's cool.
Yeah,
it's great.
It really is nice how they incorporated I guess it's where the deposit slips.
Yes, right. That's what I was trying to
those
think.
tables.
Yeah, right.
So Jesse Jacobs actually designed it when it got redone.
Oh.
Yeah. And so all of the fixtures and the lights and everything that happened in there, that was all his idea.
That's great.
Everything that happened.
The mural is beautiful.
Oh, thank you. That's something that we added.
It's beautiful.
When we took over the space.
I like the colors, the whole thing. It's just great.
Yeah, Erica McCormick did that. She's a local artist.
Nice.
She's really fantastic. But yeah, I think we've kind of nailed the style and the look that we were going for.
Yep.
And I think it matches our food very well.
Yeah. Well, we were just talking about that before the show, and I said the word eclectic because I think you've breakfast, lunch, and now have you been open for dinner or you have been? For some reason, everybody said new breakfast place.
Yeah.
Because for me, if I have a good breakfast, I'm set for the day. I just love breakfast. That's my thing.
Yeah.
And I would go miles to go to a good breakfast place. And so people were telling me that's your place is open for breakfast. But it's all different food. It's not food that you would get normally, I don't think, and it's all fabulous.
Yeah. Well. Yeah, we started off just breakfast and lunch. And then the end of September, we added dinner.
Oh, okay.
Yep, and we kind of changed up the menu a little bit. But yeah, I think we put out some really good quality food.
Yeah, you do.
And I would categorize it as a new American cuisine.
Oh, okay.
Which is similar to the food I was cooking out in Seattle and LA.
Right. Did you go to a cooking institute or
no?
No, you just OJT.
I did. Yep,
Good for
and I
you.
was very fortunate to work for some really well-known and established chefs.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Excellent. It must be in your blood then. That's good.
Yeah, yeah.
It's good. It's something you like.
It is.
obviously.
It is. When you love something, it
Yeah.
doesn't really feel like work.
That's
So,
great.
Yeah.
So you have a lot of good. So by the way, who I don't know, I was going to write to you actually before we had this conversation. You had there was a waitress, and I wish I had known her. She was marvelous. And usually, if I really like somebody, I'll leave a note for the owner and say thank you. She was fabulous. So your staff, I was watching them, excellent.
Yeah.
Do you have trouble finding people these days? Because
It's difficult.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Workforces. It's everywhere, so it's not just Vermont.
It's not just Vermont. I hear it from friends across the country
Yeah.
that they're having similar issues. So, yeah, like having employees be happy and like enjoying their jobs is more important now than ever, I think.
Right.
And having that relationship with people is really important.
I agree with you. Well, you've got a good staff.
Yeah.
And it's a nice ambiance. I
Yeah.
like to eat in a place that's got just a nice feel to it. Somehow it makes the food taste even better.
It does.
Yeah.
It
So you can
does.
tell everybody about that dessert I had the other day. Is that something you have on the menu all the time, or it's?
It is.
Oh,
Yeah.
good.
So the sticky toffee pudding is, we are a scratch kitchen. All of my establishments are a scratch kitchen. So we, the sticky toffee pudding is made in house. The ice cream that goes on it is made in house.
Ah.
And for breakfast and lunch, our breads and our English muffins those are all made in house
Oh,
as well.
seriously?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's beautiful. Well, if you go, get that dessert, I'm telling you. I made so much noise going, oh my God, this is great. Everybody was listening to me.
Yeah. It's one of my favorites as well.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
It's great.
Yep.
And it even looks good. I mean, it's just good presentation.
Yeah.
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 So you have any plans for expanding or because you're pretty much, what else could you do? It's a fabulous place, but.
I feel like we've kind of maximized the space at this
Yeah.
point. There is a really nice room downstairs that eventually I'd like to start doing some private parties.
Oh, very nice.
It's a space that can fit 10 to 15 people,
Yeah.
and it's really, really beautiful.
Oh, nice.
And so I think that's really it. But now that we're doing breakfast, lunch, dinner, we open at 8 a.m. and we're closing at 9.
Yep.
We're there, and we're 7 days a week, which a lot of restaurants these days, it's hard to be open 7 days a week.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yep.
Because you've got just so many employees.
Just so many employees, yeah, and also it's it's almost beneficial sometimes to be able to close for a little bit, but I feel like having a place open 7 days a week allows somebody to know that anytime they think of it, they can just
You can go, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah, that's great. And you have outside seating too, don't you? If I remember correctly, there's
Yeah.
a small outside seating.
Yeah, we have a really beautiful deck that comes off of the main dining room that is on State and Elm Street.
Yep, right.
And we have a bar top that runs along State Street, so you can sit up on a stool,
Nice.
and that can seat like 8 people. And then we have another 24 seats available
Perfect.
at tables as well. Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah.
It's really a lovely facility. It's
Yeah.
great. So do you still do the cooking? Or
No.
not so much anymore?
No. So I have 4 places total, and so
Oh, you own other places?
I do. I own Parkway Diner in South Burlington,
Oh, no kidding.
and we just opened another Yellow Mustard in Burlington as well.
Yike,
Yeah.
Brian.
Yeah,
Do you go around to all the different places every day?
every
or
day. Yep.
Bless you.
Yeah. Yep.
Wow,
So I live in Facein, and depending on what my day is, I'll either start it in Montpelier and then head to Burlington, or I'll head out to Burlington and then end up in Montpelier.
Well, that explains that, because I've called a couple of times. Is Brian there? Nope. I'm like, what? Why isn't he here?
Yeah.
Now I understand.
Yeah. No, I'm I kind of just oversee the operation, and I have really strong management in place at each location.
Right. Is your diner a real diner
Oh, yeah.
with diner food?
Oh, yeah.
I have to check that out. I love diners.
It's a Worcester dining car that was built in 1954, and it's right on Williston Road in South Burlington.
Oh, of course, I know where it is. I've been there years ago.
Yeah.
Not recently.
Yeah, well, you should check it out. We again, it's another scratch kitchen. Like all the biscuits, English muffins, breads, everything.
And
We do it.
you buy local as much as you can?
As much as we can.
Good.
Yeah, it's tough. It's tough in the winter.
Yeah.
Summer's a lot easier with produce and like that kind of thing.
Right.
But specifically at Filibuster, like all of the beef and the pork that we're serving in our entrees, that's all brought in.
Yeah.
The chef also makes our own bacon that goes on our pub
stop.
burger. Yeah. Yeah.
I'm going to have to frequent more often. Bacon's my thing.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah. That's really good.
We've got a place in Berlin in our industrial center that takes bacon and forms it into bacon, the shape of bacon, and slices it all up and packages it for people. I took a tour there one time. It was fascinating watching it, but you can't go wrong with bacon. Bacon makes everything. That and cream makes everything taste good.
It's hard to mess it up.
Yeah, right, exactly. If you put bacon on it. Oh, that's really great. I have to check out your diner. How do you do all this? I mean, it must, something goes wrong in the restaurant business all the time. I know this.
Yeah.
Just things happen.
Yeah, it's a lot. It is. But I do enjoy it.
Oh.
And I think that's how I do it, is that I really do enjoy the work.
Well, I bet your employees like it, knowing that you've got all these places that you show up every day.
Yeah.
That's a good thing as a boss to have that kind of interest.
I think they do appreciate it. And I think they also know that there's like some stability within the corporation as well.
Right.
Because we do have multiple locations, and it just, like, I think what's really important to employees and staff these days is knowing that their job is secure.
Yeah, wow.
And that they're going to have a place to go. I mean, there's a lot of places that are like going out of business and having trouble, and so I'm pretty diversified, which I think is helpful.
Well, we've been trying to do these series because I learned, I was doing a radio show at one time, and somebody told me on the show that the last quarter of every year is the most important for any business, because January, February, March is pretty slow, and so you need that extra funding, extra dollars to get you through that first quarter of the year. And I thought about it, and I thought, after all the things you all have been through, between, well, for you not necessarily COVID, but the rest of the businesses here have been hit with COVID and the floods, and some more than one. And it's like, how the heck do you do it? And
no, that's the question. I think Montpelier specifically is still recovering.
Right.
Very much. Right. And the hardest part for that is in 23, like everyone, like most small businesses in Vermont make all their money between June and October.
Right.
And they missed that.
Right.
Like we all missed it. Last summer.
I didn't even think of that.
We all missed June to October.
Yep.
And then people started to reopen in November. I got Yellow Mustard reopened in 2 weeks.
Wow. Because they must have gotten flooded out big time over there, didn't
Yellow
they?
Mustard was 4 feet up.
Wow.
But I did all the work in construction myself and worked 20 hours a day for 2 weeks straight.
Wow.
And with friends and other people volunteering, we got it done.
Yeah.
But yeah, the downtown of Montpelier missed their season last year. And then they went into the slow season. It was really slow this past winter. And then this summer was good, but I think that a lot of people were still staying away from Montpelier.
Yeah, and well, some of the businesses have said they haven't quite seen it pick up to where it was.
Yeah.
And a lot of that obviously has to do with the state employees not necessarily, they're not working from the offices anymore, so that's traffic that you're missing.
That's something that I think is definitely negatively affecting the entire downtown.
Well, I've heard it from just about everybody that that's a problem.
Yeah.
But I'm going to have to look into that.
Yeah, I would appreciate it.
It doesn't, because it doesn't make sense, because not everybody's leaving a building that you can do something with.
Right.
It's just sporadic. It's scattered, so it's not really organized.
That's something that I would like to say too. Like, it's not organized. It's just kind of like hodgepodge, and no one's really kind of taken control and been like, all right, well, we're going to consolidate and put everybody here, and then we can do something with these buildings. It's just kind of like, we're just kind of going. Because
they have a lot of rented buildings too, rented from private sector people too, which makes no sense to me.
Yeah.
But there you go.
Yeah.
So I just want to ask you before we leave, we only have a few minutes, where did the name I love the name Filibuster.
Yeah.
Because I know what it means to me when I heard it. What is it? It means to me I can sit there and blab over coffee for like forever, like a filibuster.
Yeah. So honestly, I was showing a friend of mine the space because I was like, this place is so awesome. You got to come check it out.
Right.
And we were just kind of talking, and the next thing you know is he's like, Bri, like, you should call this place Filibuster.
That's great. Good for him.
And I was like, oh, that's like the perfect name.
Excellent.
Like when you hear something sometimes, it just like rings true.
Well,
and that's what it was.
Well, it gave me the sense that I could just sit here and nobody's going to bug me if I keep, because I obviously talk a lot. So I can talk over coffee for a very long time, and that's what the restaurant meant to me when I heard Filibusters. I thought, oh, just sit and gabbing. That's good.
And I think people do that. It's a very comfortable space.
Yep.
The booths are very comfortable. It's like you said, the atmosphere is really great.
Nice.
And so people tend to linger.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, Brian Lewis, thank you very much for joining us.
I appreciate it, Pat.
You're welcome. Thank you for tuning in. This is Pat McDonald, your host for Banter and Beans, and we'll see you soon.